What's going on?
Not much, man. Just setting everything up over here, logistics wise. Um, oh man, I'm trying to look at. I'm trying to see what all happened.
Sorry, someone's at the door.
No, you're good.
Yeah, we haven't done anything.
No, I'm just trying to look back at like what all has happened since last week in period in the NBA, like trade wise.
DeMarcus
finalized on Tuesday.
I don't think much new.
Houston's trying to get Melo. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's dumb. Devin Booker signed a 5-year deal with the Suns. But then Kevin Durant officially re-signed yesterday.
Did Rajon Rondo and like JaVale McGee were they on the Lakers last time we recorded?
Yeah, they had announced all of that. The Lakers were set by last episode. Nothing new's happened with the Lakers since the last episode. The only thing big that's happened since we recorded is DeMarcus Cousins literally announced that like 15 minutes after we got offline.
So we've got DeMarcus Cousins. That's the biggest NBA thing.
And that we can just go into like the how now Golden State's kind of ruined next season.
See, I don't think they have. So we can have that talk.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if they've ruined the season, but they're gonna win it all.
Yeah, but I thought they were gonna win it all without him.
Yeah. See, we had this debate like before you joined the show, and I see where you're coming from. Like, it doesn't ruin the league because I agree with you. There's still a lot of good basketball to watch, even though Golden State's gonna win it all. But now you don't even get to watch LeBron dominate a conference. You don't even get to watch him dominate a division. Like, he's not even going to win his division next year because the best team in the league just added another all-star. Like, even if he comes back 80%, he's still like a 22-14 player.
So that's part of the reason I like an Achilles isn't an ACL, and people like there's the Achilles ends careers, and if you do come back from an Achilles, you're just never like the same guy. And I get what you're saying, right? Like if DeMarcus Cousins is scoring 16 and 8, then the Warriors are markedly better, and he could probably not be able to move and be playing wheelchair basketball. And with what he's good at, they'd probably be better because they just never have a good center anyways. But
I mean, I don't know why, if you're DeMarcus Cousins, why you'd play it all this season until like maybe a month before the playoffs start. Like, take your time. This is the perfect situation he fell into where he could literally take his time, recover as long as he needs to recover, come back, probably easily win a title, and then he's going to sign a major contract somewhere, whether his Achilles deserves it or not. Because like you said, he's going to be ending up sitting on a team where he doesn't have to do everything and be as mobile. So I feel like when he comes back for that run, you're only going to get the flashes of what you need to have from him because Golden State doesn't need him for much. So he's going to sit back on it, rest, come back. He's going to play as good as you need to play for Golden State to win a title, which is JaVale McGee level, which is Boogie Cousins is a lot better than that. So, I mean, even if he comes back partially, I don't think they use him so much to exploit him, and he just uses this as a quick step to another major deal because someone out there is going to throw a major deal at him.
Yeah, I think so, but I think somebody also wasn't willing to, right? Like, I think that he went with the Warriors because the Lakers offered him something similar and other teams offered him something similar. And of course, you're going to choose the Warriors in that situation. But I think it means something that, while he was injured, I want to say New Orleans offered him 2 years, $20 million a year, which is still a super cheap offer for
Garbage.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Garbage.
But I think that says something about his injury.
Why is that a garbage offer if you're saying that Achilles ruins people's careers?
Because I think that you take the chance on DeMarcus, but if you're in New Orleans position,
I'm not saying you don't.
I'm just saying from New Orleans position, that's a garbage offer to throw at a guy that you should be able to keep because he seems to have a good relationship with AD.
Right, except New Orleans at that time knew more about DeMarcus Cousins than any other team in the league.
Yeah, and then
so if they're offering him garbage with what their medical personnel knows about him right now.
Do you trust New Orleans medical personnel?
I don't trust anyone's medical personnel, dude.
Yeah, I do.
But
why wouldn't you?
Dude, the majority of the NBA trainers, as we've seen with this Kawhi situation play out, are ultimately in it for the team themselves and not in it for the players.
And that's why I think in this situation that plays out, because I think that DeMarcus really couldn't play, right? If they could force him into playing and playing well, then they would have signed him. And they would have offered him something that he would sign because he's the addition of somebody to Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday is what made them, possibly special. And now, by not signing him, they're committing to trying to find something else. And we all know Julius Randle doesn't make them better than they were last year.
Okay, but that's an illusion, dude. The idea that Boogie Cousins somehow makes that team special is, dude, they're not beating Houston, they're not beating Golden State.
Yeah, but they might not. But that is the wrench that they can throw into a game plan that other teams can't handle. Was the twin towers of Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, probably the two best centers in the NBA when both are healthy.
All I'm saying is the rest of the league looked at what New Orleans offered Boogie Cousins, and they said, why would you offer more than them?
Well, New Orleans rescinded the deal.
Well, I understand that, but even so, Alec, the marketplace for Boogie was not a lot because it is a giant question mark. You were the one who on the front end said that this is something that ruins people's careers. No one knows anything about it, dude. And the same goes for Kawhi. Really, with both of them. The only reason both of them are available at all is because there's question marks about them, especially with Boogie.
There's big question marks, but there's big question marks about a lot of people. And a dude who's had that good of a showing, I get that that Achilles have ended careers, but on the other hand, there have been some people who have come back, and medicine's as good as it ever been, and he's one of the best athletes in the world. So I do think that you roll the dice on him and don't just let him fall to the Warriors for nothing. That's where the rest of the NBA is given up. You don't let possibly the best center in the NBA when healthy fall to the Warriors because of an injury, because why not take a chance on him? There's a lot of teams that are close enough that if he does come back 50%, that you can argue that they can make a move to get to the finals if they're in the East, especially. If Houston were reaching out and did, obviously they re-signed Capella, but if they needed a center, that piece coming back 70%, I think that throws something at Golden State. There's just a lot of teams that are a Boogie Cousins away from being in a 6-game series with Golden State.
I agree.
And they're giving up and not going after him and just letting him fall to Golden State. And hell, man, what if he ends up just happy and no one offers him a big deal again? Golden State's like, hell, let's throw you another 1-and-1. And he just decides to stay again. So
I guess my contention to that is one, Boogie Cousins isn't a proven winner. So if you're going to spend the last bit of your cap space, and these are all the teams we talk about that might have an ability to contend with the Warriors. Probably the Celtics, maybe the Sixers next year, depending on what happens. The Rockets. For me, that's it. But if you look at them, they have center situations. They don't have a ton of cap space. even mid-level exception cap space. And I understand that he went for cheap, so that doesn't make a ton of sense. But I think that you come to this point where if you look at what New Orleans did, they played well with Boogie. They might have played even better without him. He's not a proven playoff commodity, and you have no idea what he's going to come back as. And when he comes back, you have to give him his due unless you are such a good team like the Warriors that you can play him off the bench. I mean, he's going to be a seventh man because Andre Iguodala is the sixth man in that situation. I think that's the thing about this. The Warriors are the only team that have such freedom with who they pick up in free agency that it doesn't really matter because he could tank things and they can overcome that.
I'm kind of piggybacking on what Alex said and then kind of questioning what Will was saying earlier. You were saying that like teams weren't trying enough to like get him and they should have tried harder. I don't see how, I mean, like Alec was saying, the Warriors have that like ability to kind of like throw not a great sum of money at someone and them being like super excited to play for them. While I don't think many teams could offer the same amount of money, he'd be like, yeah, I'd definitely play for you guys.
So you don't offer him anything, dude? 2 teams contacted him, the team that he plays for and Golden State. Andrew.
I mean, dude, I agree so much with what Will Mosley's saying. Like, it's just good business. I don't want to sound like the guy who's saying right now that you don't give Boogie the offer. Of course you take a chance on him, Will. But, like, dude, Boogie Cousins at $6 million for a year, even if he doesn't play a game, even if he just sits on the bench and people can buy his jerseys, that's good fucking business by the Golden State Warriors. Like, and what if he comes back for the playoffs, man? Like, how scary is that? And
I mean, exactly. It's over if he comes back for the playoffs. Like I said, they can play in limited amounts. He can rest and they can play him 20 minutes a game, 18 minutes a game, and he's still going to get enough buckets that another team's going to look at him next year and want to throw some money at him. But what if he's like, hey, why don't I give it another year with these guys and give it a shot? And then what if he takes a little less money because people aren't sold on him then?
They won't have the money because they've got to extend Clay next year, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, but here, okay, someone explain this to me, someone who knows the NBA better than I do. Why can the NBA say no to the Chris Paul Los Angeles Lakers trade? But the NBA can't say no to $6 million a year for Boogie.
It's a trade, and it's because of the injury. It's because of the injury. I get what you're saying, but like you can't. It's the same reason why like Kevin Durant's getting the minimum a superstar can getting paid, and I think him taking less money, it doesn't look good for a lot of players. But
well, dude, the players union has to be furious with the Golden State Warriors right now. I mean, seriously, in a world where the players union truly wants every single player to be making his maximum, they have to be livid with what Golden State is doing here. And it's a system that they created, man. So all those people out there saying it's unfair, like, no, it's not. Golden State's playing in the same exact system that every other team in the NBA is, but they were years ahead in terms of knowing when the cap was going to rise. And because of that, they were able to plan for that better than anyone else in the league, and that has made a colossal difference for them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on like your idea about them planning for the cap because you look at it, it's not – a lot of people are like they got lucky with Steph and Clay and Draymond, and they just got those picks and they played out in that system. But you look at a team like Washington who had a John Wall and a Bradley Beal, and they're screwed for the next 2 years because of how they didn't plan out their cap situation with it rising. And they can't keep their stars, and for that reason, they're doing moves like signing Dwight Howard and moving around like that and never even being a contender in the East, really. So, I mean, they were just ahead on planning it out. They can stagger these contracts and keep people happy and making the minimum that they can make as a great player. And I'd be pissed if I was another player, but like you said, like they're playing within the confines of the rules. It's just to a point where we got to fix this or someone's got to try harder.
So I would contend that it's not – first of all, Golden State created the like NBA paradigm that we live in of small ball, right? Like when they were playing with an Draymond Green at the center, Andre Iguodala at the 4, those lineups where you have Sean Livingston in there as well, before they had Kevin Durant, that was the original small ball team that we see now. That is literally the blueprint for almost every single NBA team is threes playing the floor and some fours playing the 5, and everybody on the court can shoot. So I think there's a total like gameplay idea of this that comes into that. And then I wouldn't say that it's that they, saw the cap rising and contended with that the best. They saw the cap not rise. The cap was projected to be $10 to $20 million more than it is this current year. Last year was supposed to rise 10, and the next year was supposed to rise 10. That's why we see those 2016 summer contracts that are just outrageous. They're the only team of that stature that didn't buy in and like go all out on some, center who like Jan Mahimni, who's like only known by like 4 guys and his teammates, and pay him 4 years, $60 million. I think that's where Golden State really was. They've been super patient.
Hey, don't throw the Heems man through the mud. I don't want to hear that again on this podcast. Good friend of the podcast. But no, I mean, I agree with you. They're good, man. They're good at what they do. They set it up well, and they're just beating the NBA at everything. And it's just to a point where I don't think this season's over because there's good basketball, but there might be good basketball coming up. But at the end of it, yeah, they're going to run through the playoffs because Boogie's going to come back even 60%, and they're probably going to go 16-0.
Can basketball be both good and meaningless? I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Like, there are reasons to watch the NBA theoretically, but like maybe there are a few. It makes me angry. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's gotten to a point where people who say that it's going to be somewhat meaningless next year, they're not totally wrong.
No.
I mean, like people like you who care about player development and sort of the stories in the league going on. And I think that's something the NBA does exceptionally well because they have to now because of Golden State. Those reasons, I see why you would watch. I get that if you're a real big NBA fan. But someone who watches the league for the competition, those types of people who are angry right now at the Golden State Warriors, I think it's fairly justified.
So I get what you're saying, and I know that it's not going to be as fun, like the East first round playoff games in the East are much more significant than first round playoff games. The West, probably because you have an idea of at least the 3 best teams in the West, and you know who's going to get there, and one of them is going to be Golden State, and Golden State will probably win the finals and with open. But I think that like there are, as good as Golden State gets, there are significant storylines developing for the future of the NBA. Like the Suns 3 years from now look like a great team. And the Timberwolves 2 years from now look like a great team. And I think the nice part is eventually the Warriors have to be – this power vacuum is going to be created in a year or two because this can't go on forever. At least I think it can't.
You're wrong,
I think
dude.
that
You're
watching
wrong
that
about
happen is
that,
going to be great.
It can absolutely go on forever. Like what Will Mosley was saying about them staggering contracts, those sorts of things, that make it where they can run this for a while if they want. And if everyone continues to commit to being unselfish, they can absolutely do this for as long as they want to do it.
If they really sat down and the 3 main guys, Steph, Clay, and Kevin, were like, we are going to stay together. It doesn't matter if we have to take some lower contracts, but we are going to stay together. They could stagger their contracts and stay together there and be the greatest dynasty of all time.
So if everyone commits to being unselfish. And I know that's a big if, but as we talked about before, like, dude, those dudes seem kind of into it. Like, they don't seem like the type of guys who are eventually going to be like, no, I'm going to go get mine now. And maybe like after 5-6 championships, you get to a point where you're like, okay, let me go see what I can do by myself. Clay's the one for me, dude. Like, if you want to talk about what the big story should be for the next year in the NBA, like LeBron going to LA, and then what the fuck is Klay Thompson doing? Because if that dude doesn't leave, then we are seriously looking at another 3 or 4 years of this. There's no incentive for any of them to leave, dude. They make good money through their shoe companies. Money's not the thing for them, dude. They are at the top end of the top players in the world. They make so much money away from the basketball court that it's gotten to a point where there's no incentive for them to leave. They win the championship every year, and that's awesome. And, like, yeah, it makes it kind of boring for people who watch for the competition, but they're playing within the rules, and if the NBA doesn't change those rules, Alec, they can absolutely do this for as long as they want.
No, okay, I get what you're saying, and I just maybe it's just blind faith that I believe that they won't be able to. Another thing that I kind of want to point out is that like dynasties in the NBA are nothing new, right? The Warriors are really technically only a 4-year-old dynasty that hasn't won 3 in a row. So by some people's standards, you can't call them a dynasty, right? The Bulls in the 90s were more dominant championship-wise. But Celtics,
you have to give them time.
Just as
you're seriously you're faulting them for something they haven't been able to do yet.
I'm not faulting them though. That's what I think the issue here is. The issue is with the rest of the league.
The Bulls won 6 championships in 8 years. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So the way to compare that fairly would be to wait 8 years and see how many championships the Warriors win, dude. Just because they dropped one and they didn't win 3 in a row, that's meaningless to me.
I'm not critiquing the Warriors in the situation.
So percentage-wise, they have the exact same amount.
Yeah, years-wise. I'm not critiquing the Warriors in this situation. What I'm trying to say is that I think that the rest of the league has to step their game up.
I agree with that.
How? You make super teams, right?
There's
LeBron decided not
so
to,
many good players, dude. How? You're saying okay, with the way the cap structure currently is and guys who are already locked into supermaxes, how are you doing it? How do you construct that team? It's not as easy. It's just like if you're relying on one other city and we're just gonna do like a superhero type thing where we have one team versus one team every year and there's 2 super teams, that's cool. But like, dude, not every team has been as smart about the salary cap as Golden State has. It's not just as easy as that.
No, it's not that easy. And you have to have teams that develop superstar level talent and then are able to bring in a free agent or 2, which is exactly what Golden State has done, right? And I think Boston is doing that and can continue to improve on that. And I think so is Philly. And I think that we have situations where you see teams come together that have the cap flexibility, the level and depth of talent that could, and maybe I'm an optimist, but I think could challenge the Warriors in the near future. And that's what's exciting. The tough part is that we've seen 4 years of the Warriors beating up on LeBron James and whoever else is wearing maroon, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily matter.
And every other player in the league. Like, they've just been beating up on everyone for 4 years. And I get that you say that, and I'm with you. We get to watch the Celtics develop, and I think that they're going to take a huge, dominance control of the East this year. I don't think the Bucks have it figured out right, even though they might have the best talent player in the entire Eastern Conference. I don't think Philly truly has it right. I think they got really lucky on a couple draft picks, and they're kind of figuring out their way through it. But I don't know if their process is as good as it's made out to be, just because they got a couple good draft picks in there. I think that the Warriors are the only ones that you see really build it correctly, besides maybe the Celtics. And I hope to see them take that dominance control of the East and maybe figure something out going into the finals. But that's what I see. There'll be good basketball played, but yeah, I do think the end result's going to be the Warriors for probably another 2 years now.
I mean, not that it matters, but do you have a favorite in the East now that LeBron's not there?
Celts.
Me too, easily.
Who's second best?
Sixers.
Philly, or see what the Bucks do. But I think Giannis is the new king of the East.
I mean, he's incredible, dude. I mean, did you see that there was some list on ESPN with the comparison between the players in the West and the East, and it's pretty ridiculous right now. There's not a lot of guys over in the East.
Not a lot.
Is it possible that the Lakers don't make the playoffs?
No.
They will make the playoffs.
All right. Well, hey, another week from the Nosebleeds podcast. We'll be right back. All right. That was solid.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good, all back and forth. Yeah, Max, sorry. I just didn't really, I don't know. I'm
going to get some water.
Every time I think of King of the East, I just
No, it's fine. It was literally just something.
It's hard to picture anyone trying to fill the shoes of that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Is John Wall the best player in the East?
No, because I still think Kyrie's better than him, and I think Giannis is better than him now.
Giannis.
I don't
Like-
think
He's
I don't
tough,
think
Paul.
16-17 season he was better than him, but I do think 17-18 season he took a leap that he's better for today's NBA than John Wall is, because he just. You were
He was
talking
also on a
about
team where he had to do
DeMarcus
more.
Cousins not being a proven winner. I'm not sold on Boogie Cousins at all, and
John
Giannis
Wall, you
is, Giannis or John Wall at all, and Giannis is just younger, and I guess I have more optimism because he has more physical abilities. If he can learn how to shoot a 3-ball, it's just so scary. But I don't know. John Wall's fucking good. For a long time, I thought he was better than Kyrie, but I don't know.
No, not right now.
Yeah. Just to let y'all know, I am setting up an Instagram just to be able to reach more people.
I think
and be able to link.
made one.
Oh, you did?
I'm pretty sure I made one. We just never we haven't
Let
done
me
anything
see.
with it.
Oh shit!
Did you follow any of us?
No, I think I just made it.
Because I saw that you linked. Did you link yourself to it or?
Me?
Yeah, I got like
It came up on my feed that you did that too.
Oh shit! It shouldn't have
Because
done
I think
that.
it's just because we're admins on that page.
Yeah. Well, I made an actual Instagram that's just
there's a from the
underscore
Nosebleeds.
There's a From the Nosebleeds Instagram.
Yeah, we have 43 followers.
Oh Jesus! All right. Well, then I'll
Followed
just
by
delete this
both
one
of
over
you.
here.
I'm following it right now.
Um.
Only following 10 people. It's
Yeah, from the Nosebleeds. But there is one.
Most of our followers
My mom follows.
are Arabic.
We'll take it.
Like we have 43 followers. Most of them are Arabic. Which is interesting.
Will you follow? Anyway, yeah. Where we want to go?
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Let me look this up.
It's the Nosebleed Sports.
We've got.
Is anyone interested in talking about these Thai boys?
Is that?
I'm down.
They're rescuing them.
Mac, I know you've been watching this, right? You like the news.
I like the news. I watch the news. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, dude. And then you see, we can. If you want to go into it, I'll go into it with you.
I mean, I don't know, dude. We don't have to. I mean,
We can bring it up at the end.
Here's the thing, dude. All right, listen. I
Okay.
have no problem if you want to make our. I think this week we need to sort of establish that we are, that we're gonna do this trend of doing some sort of weird power ranking every week, or at least for the summer or something, where we don't have a lot going on. And then I'm down with doing root vegetables if one of you can explain to me what a root vegetable is.
Anything that you're pulling out of the ground to eat.
Yeah, anything it's the definition. Like the vegetable isn't growing on the leaves; it's just the root is the vegetable. So like anything you pull out of a ground, like a beet, an onion, or anything like that.
Carrots.
But if you want to talk about the
turnips, rutabaga.
I got a bunch of
Garlic.
really small things that I want to get into because it's summer and there's nothing going on. World Cup, if you guys want to talk about that, that's probably another, serious sort of sportsy thing. Will Mosley, I want to get into this Megalodon movie with you. Have you seen the previews for this?
Wait, what?
Have you? Oh my God! Have you?
Can we
have
watch
you
the
not seen
preview real quick?
There's a movie coming out. I believe it's called The Meg. It is about a megalodon, and the cast is surprisingly you're going to know some people.
The mega. Wow.
All right. Yeah. So that's something that I want to get.
Oh,
So
there's
we
a
just do it
trailer.
now. Can we knock that out now? Do you
Oh my
believe in
gosh!
Megalodon?
Hold on. Let me. Is that
I
Jason
watched it.
Statham?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The cast is good, dude.
What in the world? This is going to be okay.
Dwight
Let's talk about it.
Dwight?
We can get back into it. Bring us into show.
Okay. All right. Welcome back, people. This is Andrew Levin here. Welcome, and thank you so much for listening to From the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm here with my very good friends. Will Mosley, returning from a very fun weekend in Johnson City, Tennessee. How's it going, man?
Oh, trying to recover, man. Trying to
Uh,
recover.
Me too, dude. I want to get into that a little later also. God, we got a lot to get to. Mac Young, how's it going, dude? You are in Asheville
I
now?
am back in Asheville. Yep.
Okay, cool, man. And our good friend, Alec Uwecki, still in the Northeast, where it looks like it is more daytime than it is where I am.
Yeah, it's pretty nice out.
I know. I don't really get that. I always thought, well, no, for some reason, I always thought like the Northeast, it got darker earlier than here. And I don't know what that is.
It does.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. This is our sports podcast. And even though it's a sports podcast, it is also mid-July. So I don't know if you've seen the preview for this new Megalodon movie, but Will Mosley, I know you're someone who's very much into the Megalodon. This is something you have to be excited for, no?
I'm so jacked up. Didn't know it was coming.
I can hear it in your voice.
Really excited. Just read the premise. Sounds awesome. 200 miles off the Chinese coast, Megalodon shows up. Like, you just can't ask for anything better. I got all giddy when Shark Week did all of those like recreations and tried to like lure Megalodon up and try to find Megalodon because they had found like or heard sightings of him. It would be amazing if there was still one down there. And I'm not going to give up hope that there's not. They're probably more likely than ghosts. But, man, I'll settle for a movie.
And the fact that Jason Statham is the star, you know that the acting might not be great, but it's going to be entertaining as shit.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal.
I believe Dwight from The Office is also in that movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Dwight from The Office is also.
He is also
No
in that
way.
movie. Rainn Wilson.
It is a weird cast of characters, to say the least, but
Yeah, two pretty opposite ones right there.
I mean, a giant shark, dude. Like, this is the point we're at in movie making now.
What do you mean this is the point where we're at? We've reached the peak of making movies. They made one about Megalodon.
Didn't they technically make one about Megalodon in the 80s with that, or was it 70s? I don't know.
No,
I
there
don't
was
know.
one
I'm a
from
young person,
2003.
Jaws seemed kind of like a Megalodon movie. Is that fair? Is it fair to say that half the shark movies ever made were sort of on the theme of a big fucking fish?
Oh,
No.
yeah, duh. But
So now we're just
it's a complete different premise. This isn't a great white. This isn't just your average shark. This isn't some roided up regular shark that some scientists made. This is a prehistoric 95-foot biggest shark in the world.
That's it.
I
It's
mean,
pretty big.
Mac, Megalodon would let you slide through its teeth and not taste you.
You know how I feel about the ocean, man.
Yeah,
how do you feel about the ocean?
I'm terrified of the ocean.
What is it about it? Like the open water, you're just not a fan? I get it, dude. I feel like that's like a really primal fear that most people have.
Oh, the vastness of it. I don't know what's down there. I didn't see the ocean for the first time till I was like 18. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure
a very good swimmer.
I'm not sure that I have the title of this right, but there's a really fucked up movie. I think it might be called Open Water, about this couple where they go out and they're scuba diving, and pretty much like the boat, they count the people wrong, and these two people get stranded in the middle of the ocean, and like they float along, and they're literally just like them. They've got like those things where you pull the cord when you dive and it like surfaces you at the proper rate or whatever for your equilibrium. But so like they're floating, they have life jacket things on, but
open water.
Yeah, it's a fucked up movie, dude.
2003.
Yeah, that'd be scary.
Like the scariest, dude. Like I think there's like 3 or 4 fears that like I feel like every person has, and open water is got to be close to one of them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. It's scary. And you know why it's scary? Because Megalodon could be down there and he could eat you at any moment.
why do you believe in a giant 90-foot shark?
Because it was real. And
Okay,
like
but
we
so is
have
T-
evidence that it was real. I'm not necessarily saying that I believe that it definitely is down there. I think we've done enough proving that it's probably not. I still think there's a chance, based on your reasoning, that there's a chance that we have Yetis, because it's really hard to search every mountain pass.
That's fair.
Just like it's really hard to search the crevices of the depths of the ocean. So there's a chance we've missed it and it swam past us when we've even gone like that deep because we can't consistently stay that deep. And it can if it's still down there. And I'm not saying that it's a full 95-foot shark, but there's probably a really big shark that we haven't seen down there. And who knows, man? Maybe it is Megalodon in another 50 to 100 years.
What?
Okay.
Baby Megalodon.
there's
eating. What?
Alec.
So there's going to be a recreated one in
what
50
I understand what you're saying is, are you saying
like
that
a baby
sharks
Megalodon
get really
down
old,
there?
they become Megalodon? Is that?
I'm saying that
that's what I'm getting from this.
old sharks are Megalodon. Yeah, that's pretty much where my belief.
Really old sharks.
Yeah, that's what Megalodon is to me.
I mean, I would say, so they do say that we know more about the surface of the moon than the bottom of the ocean. And we've only explored like 4% of the world's ocean. So on that, I wouldn't be surprised if not Megalodon, but if something similarly like exasperating or like a 40-foot shark, or maybe not a 95-foot shark, but something was out there. I don't think they confirmed giant squids to like the 90s.
That's fair. Okay, now see, that's so okay. Dude, I think this just has a lot more to do with our like obsession pop culturally with sharks, dude. Like we have a whole week devoted to it on television. And I think it's fun to think about, but okay, dude, it's Statham, dude.
Obviously, I don't think that there's still a 95-foot shark in the bottom of the ocean, but I also don't think ghosts are real, and you'd argue with me on that.
Well, we're gonna talk about that at some point in the near future, I heard.
Yeah, just stay tuned for that if you're out there listening.
This is from the Nosebleeds podcast. Will Mosley loves giant sharks. That's fair to say?
That is so fair to say.
All right, and we also love you, the listener, so we'll be right back. Keep it here. Okay.
World Cup, root vegetables, World Cup, then root vegetables.
Here's my issue with root vegetables. I feel like we could all agree.
What is your
on the
issue?
root vegetables thing?
I think you would be very surprised on how much we would disagree when it comes past the first and second.
Potatoes, onions, carrots, sweet potatoes.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You're just losing a lot of flavors.
This is a power ranking. It's a power ranking. It's not
and you're losing a lot of flavors because you're being wrong.
What do you
like? You're throwing something
I don't
in
care
there.
about
Carrots have limited flavor, just some sustenance. So I'm not going to put those above garlic, which is used in so many dishes, which is also a root vegetable.
I didn't want to split the onions up. I'm counting garlic and like shallots and all those things in my onion.
Whoa, wait. Okay.
You're counting garlic with onions.
Garlic are a form of onion. Like it's
a root vegetable.
I mean, it's a root vegetable, but no, it's a different root vegetable that tastes completely different.
Okay, garlic and onions are super similar.
Yukon potatoes, russet potatoes, sweet potatoes.
See, that's where I feel like we're like, well, no, sweet potatoes are totally different. Sweet potatoes are like a flour bowl.
Yeah, fuck off, dude.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to From the Nosebleeds Sports Podcast here. We're talking root vegetables, I guess. So, Alec, you have a power ranking of root vegetables?
I have at the very least a top 5 root vegetable power ranking.
Do you also have a power ranking of root vegetables, Will Mosley?
Man, dude, I could go 20 deep, but we'll keep it light. I got 5 for you.
Okay, so this is really obscure, but okay. Let's get into it. Who wants? I guess Alec. You first.
Okay. I think, in my opinion, some of these are obvious. The number 1 root vegetable out there is the potato.
It's not even close, man.
It is.
Okay, and that's why this is a weird power ranking to me because number 1, how could you have anything else?
See,
exactly.
I agree with you, and yet roughly 24% of this podcast would disagree.
With the potato being number 1? is there somebody out here who wants to tell me that the potato is not the greatest root vegetable? Just an entire country collapsed because their potatoes rotted.
Mac
Don't
Young.
tell the Irish the potatoes aren't the greatest root vegetable.
Mac Young.
They tied themselves to that ship and sunk it.
Mac Young.
What's
Let's
your
hear it.
number
Are
Are you
one?
gonna
Your
say
argument.
anything other than your name, bro?
Sorry, I was lagging, so I decided to stop
I
talking.
mean, you come in and you interject with just your name, and then you drop off for 15 seconds.
I couldn't hear you, so I stopped talking.
Beck, what's your
Gotcha.
number one root vegetable? Break my heart.
Sweet potato.
You're wrong.
That's
I'm not
ridiculous.
wrong.
Okay, you're wrong.
That
This is a personal. I thought this was a personal power ranking. That is my number one.
No, this is an intense debate about who's right and who's wrong because there always has to be a
you
winner
would
and a
be
loser.
wrong.
And you lost already. You lost in 2 words, sweet potato. Actually, you lost in 1 word, dude. Get rid of the sweet, say that word, and you're right. Okay, so we're all on the same page. Potato's number 1. Alec, what's your number 2 root
My number
vegetable?
2 is the humble onion. It is ubiquitous.
I love onion.
It's
it on
the
the
flavor in half of the things you eat, people. If
Put
you
it on
don't
the
like
poll.
onions, you don't like eating food.
Yep.
Don't get into me about this.
Yeah, put it on the poll. Do you love onions? Yes or no? Onions are so tremendous, dude. I will put an onion on pretty much anything, dude. Onion on a hot dog is so fucking good. I don't even like hot dogs, man. It's just a way to put mustard and onion on something.
Onion, it's just added flavor. You could add onions to 75% of the world's foods, and you'd like it.
Will Mosley, are you an onion man?
I'm an onion man. You know me, I'm all about versatility. It came out in my store-bought cookies. It came out in my candies. It's what really holds true to my power rankings. It's why potatoes number 1 and onions are sliding in at number 2. And I'm the only place I'm interested is the 4th member of this podcast who seems to disagree with all of us now. And he had sweet potato 1. And if he doesn't have potato 2, then I don't know what's wrong with him. But then he's pushing onions all the way back to 3. So, Mac, what do you have for us?
Sweet potato is still 1 in my eye. I will substitute a sweet potato over a gold, yellow, whatever potato for any meal, easily. That's why I still probably have the same next few as you guys, but that golden russet, Yukon, Idaho, whatever you want to call it, drops to 4 for me.
4?
What?
Yeah.
What are you?
What?
Hold on. Wait. Okay, hold on.
That's
All
crazy.
Everyone, calm down. All right, Mac. Just what's your top 5?
So we got the sweet potato,
Okay.
onion,
Okay.
garlic,
Okay.
white, yellow potato,
Okay.
beet.
Okay.
That's insane.
Wow.
That is just
I don't even know what it's.
man.
What?
I
You're
think
putting potatoes next to beets?
that's just absolutely absurd.
That is offensive.
I have turnips above beets.
How deep does your list go, Will?
He said 20, man. It's like your cookie list from last week or whatever it was, where you had 25 cookies listed.
I don't
He's got
think I
20
could
root
name-
vegetables.
I'm not sure I can name 10 root vegetables.
Well, let's hope you have 5, because I really want to hear what you have after potato and onion.
Okay, listen.
Ooh.
Potatoes and onions are brilliant. Okay, I agree with Will, dude. Garlic is great, but the problem with garlic is it's good on other things. It's sort of always complimentary, is it not? How high do you have garlic, Will Mosley?
It's going to be a game time decision if it slips 5 to 6. But I don't know. It's close. It's going to be number 5 for me. I just think that the versatility of it, the complementariness of it is so important to cooking. And you use it in so many dishes to complement those flavors that you just can't leave it out and underrate it, because it as a complement is better than a beet by itself.
Ooh. I respect
Facts.
that. Garlic is important. I didn't consider garlic when I was making my list. I'm going to be completely honest. I kind of lumped garlic in with onions, and I understand that's a whole other issue of mine to deal with. But For me, number 3, I went with carrots. And similar type of thing. I think carrots are, once again, in the base of like a lot of sauces and stuff. I like carrot. I'll eat carrots raw.
What the hell
I love
flavor
carrots.
does that bring?
Carrots, it adds a sweetness, actually. Like a mirepoix, like a lot of classic like bases to you cooking anything is going to start with some carrots.
Well, welcome to From the Nosebleeds Cooking Podcast, everybody. And I don't disagree with you. Carrots are phenomenal, but I'd rather have a parsnip. And that's why they slip onto my number 4. And it's going to be disputed, and I'm okay with it being disputed because it's going to fall in my number 4, and Mac's sweet potato rounds out at my 5 at my number 3. And carrots are the one that get bumped to my honorable mention number 6 spot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a tough life to be a carrot in a guy's life who cares about root vegetables this much. But
what is a rutabaga?
A rutabaga is like a big turnip. That's why. That's the way I think.
A rutabaga is in the turnip family.
Well, yeah, they're both root vegetables.
Yes, but it's the same thing with the garlic and the onion thing with Alec here, where it's similar, but it's still a different root vegetable.
It's like you're shitting on me for sweet potato, but it's still a fucking potato.
No, it's not. Those are completely different. Sweet potatoes,
and I don't want to be 10 times better.
Sweet potatoes, significantly related to tulip bulbs, not potatoes. Not at all. Not at all similar. Don't go there. Don't look at me like I'm crazy for saying this.
No, dude. If you just take a sweet potato and a regular potato and threw them in the oven, just baked them for an hour. Which one has a better flavor profile when you take it out and just take a bite out of it?
Okay, but that's not how potatoes work, dude.
Potatoes.
A potato
You put some garlic on it. You put some ginger or whatever.
I'm saying this, Mac.
Those other root vegetables to complement the potato.
Mac, do you have ginger in your top 5 root vegetables?
No, it's
wow.
Ginger's
ginger, I think is. I guess it is a root. It's
fantastic. It is fantastic.
Ginger's an honorable mention.
I mean, but that's the thing, dude. It's sort of, it's like a garlic situation for me, dude. Can it really be? It can't be first ballot, dude, because it's always complimentary. It was never the main guy.
Okay, I feel like
it's a Clay Thompson.
You saying carrots are worse than parsnips, and Mac, you saying sweet potatoes are better than potatoes, is like people who thought that Steph Curry was a better basketball player than LeBron.
Who says that?
Yeah,
I think they're like fun to think about, but they have like there are standard setters and like
what do carrots have that are so special to you? I'm not going to argue that parsnips should be that high. I'm not saying that. And I have carrots at 6, and I've thought deeply about this list, as you can tell, since I have 20 deep. But
all right,
I'm not going to have carrots sitting when they have no flavor.
Carrots are
neither do parsnips.
Parsnips have some flavor. They got some bite to them. I like parsnips. Not to argue Will's point for him, but carrots are actually versatile. Carrot cake, raw carrots.
That's 2
roasted
things.
Carrots.
All right,
carrots as a base of anything. That's super. What are you parsnips? I feel like you can have parsnips pureed and you can have parsnips like roasted.
I can't believe that we're arguing about parsnips right now. All right, we got 1 minute left in the segment here. Will Mosley, I need all 20 on your list very quickly.
Oh Jesus, you need all 20. We're gonna get into some official names here. I'm not gonna go full 20 deep.
Name 6 women's.
I'll give you a little some flashes. There's a couple different types of potatoes. Max Beets make an appearance all the way down the list at number 18.
That's ridiculous.
Mac
18. Turnips hit it in at number 7 here. Just to give you a little taste of the list, I might throw it up on the Twitter at _the Nosebleeds. We got a Instagram coming out we're going to be promoting coming this week for you. That'll be out there too. And maybe we'll just have a list of my top 20 out there.
Alec, anything more on root vegetables before we take a break?
My number 5 was radishes. I like radishes.
Alakaweki, you like radishes? Because we like radishes too. We also like you guys, the listeners. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is From the Nosebleeds podcast. We'll be right back.
Did you guys watch Hey Arnold growing up?
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Remember that kid, like Chocolate Boy or whatever? He just ate chocolate all the time, and then
Yeah.
Hey Arnold like made him eat radishes, and he became like Radish Boy.
Damn, I
No, it
forgot
was
about
raspberries. That was raspberries.
No, it was radishes. Look it up.
that. Damn.
Mac knows his
Laying
shit.
down
dude.
to look it up on him. Word.
All right, so generally, I don't know. I just know based on like where I'm in bars, we generally go to like between 2,200 and 2,300 for me, and we're at the low 15s now. So
We also haven't had much like downtime.
Yeah, we kind of got back into it quick.
But we started like what, 7? Probably like 45 minutes, 40 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Probably doing like 15, something like that.
probably one long segment or a couple.
We've used a lot of.
Why don't we do World Cup and then wrap it up with like the Thai boys, the Thai soccer team or something like that?
Yeah, that would be a good connection.
Yeah. Real quick, I do want to let the other two y'all know. This weekend at the wedding, Andrew and I got a lot of really good feedback from a lot of the guys. There's a lot of people who are at least clicking and sharing, who are gonna like also be like a lot of encouragement about the episodes that have been listened to, even if they haven't been in huge majority. Everyone who says they have listened gave a lot of support and likes what we got going on here. So that was really encouraging for me, at least. I know it was for Andrew. So just to throw that towards y'all's way, that's something that we heard a lot of this weekend from people, not necessarily saying they listened every week, but what they have listened to, they enjoyed.
That's awesome.
So they feedback?
Interestingly enough, Andrew actually has some feedback from a listener.
Oh God, dude, this is a really fun. I don't know if I can go to this like on air because this is just like such a crazy story. But I got a super long text message from someone on, I guess, Friday. So me and Will, we went to this wedding this weekend in Johnson City. Congratulations to Shannon and Brandon. They're in Mexico now, and I wish I was there with them. So I'm sure they're doing awesome. But it was a great time. We had a really good time. So me and my girlfriend are in the car, and we're going up there on Friday, and I get this text message, and it's crazy long. I mean, it's so long that like I wanted to send a screenshot to Will Mosley, but it was sort of difficult because like it was so long that scrolling was kind of difficult to like match it, whatever. Anyway, I call Will, and I'm like, dude, I just got this really long message from this listener, and he's like, he or she at the time is not telling me who it is. And so, yeah, like a super really kind message about the show. And we obviously are very appreciative for all the kind feedback that we get from everyone out there who's listening from the Nosebleeds. And so I'm texting with this person, and I'm kind of concerned. I'm like, how did this person get my personal number or whatever? Anyway, turns out to be a friend from college, right? Like someone I haven't seen in a couple of years. And again, I guess for now we'll keep like that name private or whatever. But then Saturday, after the wedding, you know, a ton of adult beverages have been consumed at this point, and so we're gonna go to the bars in downtown Johnson City, and the person who had texted me on Friday happened to be in that bar. I had no idea that this person lived there at all. I just walked into the bar, and he was there, and so we chilled. He was super complimentary, and so that was really awesome. But as Will Mosley was saying, a lot of people starting to listen, tune in, like us, check us out on Twitter at _ the Nosebleeds, and we're growing here at From the Nosebleeds, and that's really exciting for sure.
That's great to hear.
But anyway, welcome back. This is From the Nosebleeds podcast. My name is Andrew Levin. I'm here with my good friends Al Kawecki, Will Mosley, Mac Young, and we are now going to talk World Cup, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm a little disoriented. I apologize for that. But Dude, how about England, man? I know I said it. Was that a couple weeks ago? Was that 2 weeks ago at this point, or maybe even 1 week ago, where I was like, I'm not going to pick England, and now I really should have picked England because I would look like a badass motherfucker right now.
You would, because after their showing against Colombia, I wasn't so sure that they were going to be able to make it very far, but now they look like absolute geniuses by throwing that Belgium game and put themselves in great position to just – because, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't think they're the best team in the tournament, but with the way they situate themselves, they have the easiest road for sure, and they are young and fast, and they're hot right now. They had a great game. Their last game. It was fun to watch. So they definitely set themselves up. I think I agree with Andrew, dude. I'm on the England bandwagon.
I could not disagree further.
With what?
I think England's the worst team in the Final Four.
What?
Yes. I think
what?
England is going to get smacked by Croatia. 3-0. I called it right here. I won't back down from it either.
Dude, Croatia is so tired.
Croatia has time to rest. Croatia has the best player on the field. Croatia is battle tested.
They are not as fast.
There's no pressure.
Okay, Alec, that's just
Croatia
simply not
took
true.
Russia out of the tournament. They had to be scared for their lives.
You think that Luka Modric is better than Harry Kane?
Yes.
Harry Kane's the third best player in the world. Is that even disputed?
No.
No, it's not disputed.
No, it's not disputed. Like he's better than Luka Modric. Like he's very much thought of this year as being one of the top 3 to 5 players in the world. Luka Modric not going to knock him out, but obviously that's why I say 3 to 5. He could be the top 3, but he could be top 5 at maximum. And I think Modric falls into the top 10. Not to slight him, but to just blatantly say that they have the best player on the field, like that's a very disputed thing. And right now, I think a lot of people, based on this past club and country season, would actually say Harry Kane has been playing better.
What did you say to that?
I mean, I'm biased in this respect, but I think that in a couple ways, his ability to control the game and manipulate the game without having to show up on the stat sheet. And I know that Harry Kane does that, but I think Harry Kane does that to a lesser extent. I think that Harry Kane is limited in some ways to his ability to score, which is obviously super important and part of what makes you a candidate for being the best player in the world. But I think that Modric his ability to control the game has helped Croatia go from a team with a couple great players and some sparse depth to a semifinal team who I'm pretty sure still has the best record throughout this tournament.
Don't get me wrong, Alec. Croatia's played phenomenal. I think they're a great team, and I think they have a lot of good players with itch is at the ending of their last name. But I think England's better, and I think both teams are going to lose to Belgium or France in the final because both of those teams just look a lot like more full teams. France, the way that France is playing team ball is just scary if you've watched all their soccer, and Belgium just seems to have this thing locked together with one of the best goalies in the world, which is, when it comes down to it, it seems in this World Cup a lot with the amount of PKs we've seen already is going to be a big factor. And I don't know. I think the other side of the semifinals is going to win it all. I think Croatia's good. That will be a fun game. I don't think either team's going to wax the floor with the other. I think we got 2 really good semifinal matchups, and then the finals has a chance to be good, but I really just think that Belgium or France are going to be the better team no matter who comes out.
Who do you think is going to win, Belgium or France?
Belgium.
How do you trust Belgium though? Do they?
Because they have the best. They have the best center mid. They have the best midfielder in all of soccer right now. De Bruyne is a beast, and he cannot.
They all are, dude.
Well, De Bruyne can play defense. He can play defense. And then he's really good at getting up the field, like where Pogba is not. Pogba can get on defense, play great defense, feed the ball up the field, but then he's lazy on getting up. De Bruyne gets the ball, feeds it, works his way up, and can get a shot off all in one swoop.
Who else feels like that at the beginning of Pogba's career, you could look back at videos and it seems like he's been playing since like the 90s?
Oh, it's crazy, man.
Like, it's ridiculous that he is still in this World Cup. I feel like I've watched Paul Pogba make like
He's still in his
35
20s, is he
yard
not?
shots.
No,
Is
he's
he
like
still in his
24.
No, he's crazy young, dude. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Dude. He's like
Like our
a
age.
I just feel like I've watched him for so long make incredibly long shots just because he's been so great forever. And I mean, I just feel like Belgium's a very full team. And if you're asking me, do I trust anyone here? No, because I think Croatia's playing above
that's what makes it
where
fun.
they can.
That's what's gonna make
because
it
of what-
fun, dude. It's
what
what's gonna make it
Alex
fun.
saying.
Every team
Like-
still has major question marks, and that makes it fun. Like it's gonna be hopefully we're gonna see some goals, dude. Like these unders that have been coming in these games, in some of these games, dude, have been fucking ridiculous, man. Especially late in the tournament when a lot of these teams try to lock down sort of defensively. It would be nice to just get 2 semifinal games that are a little bit wide open, especially because there are so many great players on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could see it with England, with their ability to score quick, with their ability to have that long ball and what they've done on the counter with Harry Kane, and obviously having Sterling out there who can fly by anybody at any time. They have the ability to score, and like you said, Croatia on their side, Modric's no slouch. He's phenomenal. So they always have the ability to put the ball in the net. I don't think the other semifinal is going to give us those overs that you really want, but I don't know, that Croatia England game, we could see 4 or 5 goals.
So who do you have as your World Cup champion? Because the championship game is it Sunday?
I believe so. Semifinals are tomorrow and Wednesday.
Right. So anyway, who do you have? Because I'm so hesitant to say it, dude, but I think England might do it. I think they might do it, man. I just think that in these games have been so tight, a lot of them later in the tournament, and if it's a 1-0 game, I think that favors the team with the goal scorer, not with the guy who can control the game from the midfield.
All right. Alec, who do you got? I think we can figure it out.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Croatia, guys, because they've given me no reason not to say yes.
A couple
Mac
heart
Young.
attacks, maybe.
Mac Young, what you got?
Dude, I think Belgium is just too talented, and no one expected England to make it this far even. So if they make it to the World Cup, if they win this next game, that coach will be knighted. And yeah, I just don't think they'll win, but there'll be big news if they make it to the finals.
Big news.
Oh, you got to get knighted.
Understatement, dude. It will be
The biggest.
I just said their coach will
Colossally
get
big
knighted
deal.
by the Queen.
The
if
biggest
they make
news.
it.
And Mac, I hate you for taking Belgium's pick for me, because since we got 4 hosts here on From the Nosebleeds, I'll just round it out and make it a really fun last couple games for the tournament. And I'll take France for taking it all the way for you guys.
I mean, I think
So we
France
can figure out something a little fun for us, I guess, with all of us having a different team at stake in this last couple games.
I mean, not to be the guy with the douchey sports cliche here, but like they seem to have the best team on paper, right? Like in terms of balance, and Loris is playing out of his mind right now. So I mean, it's not a terrible pick.
Oh, and depth wise, I think France came into
But
the
I have
tournament.
to cheer for France. Like you see my dilemma here. I don't want to. Mac is making me, and I'm riding with it. So let's go France.
So Mac, any thoughts on any other big soccer stories going on right now?
I mean, I don't know if you guys been watching the news at all, but there's been some crazy shit happening on the other side of the world from us, and over in Thailand, or is it Malaysia?
It's
I think
Thailand.
It's Thailand.
It's Thailand.
But those, what was it, like 13 boys all stuck in a cave?
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
And they've had some guys. I heard it today. Like they've had multiple divers go in and give them food.
Yeah.
And these boys are like just terrified and malnourished. Like haven't seen the light of day in forever. And they were like comparing these divers' mission to like going. This is like something that's never been done before for these guys that are going to save these kids, and they were putting it at like, you're a Navy SEAL, you've been training for a long time to like go into these crazy missions, but you've never like climbed a mountain before. You've never climbed Mount Everest, and it's like Here's a pack, go climb Mount Everest. And it's basically what these guys are doing to the people that are these divers. So it's like, you know how to dive, but like now we're gonna ask you to go X amount of feet. I mean, X amount of like go really far, save these kids, get them out of this crazy situation that they're in, and you've never done anything like this before in their life. So it's crazy for these kids. It's crazy for their parents. I can't even imagine what their parents are going through. It's crazy for. It's a crazy story.
It's insane, dude. And it's weird. Like I was at a wedding this weekend, man, and some stranger, and I think it might have been me and a couple friends or whatever. Like we were talking about it. It's something that's really captivated the entire world, and like how could it not? Like we were talking before about those things that every person is scared of. Dude, being trapped in a cave, it's got to be one of those things. And
Dude,
I
just when there's water,
right? And that's one seal died. Like one seal on Friday, a seal died trying to get the boys more oxygen. And so yesterday they took 4 out. Today they took another 4 out. And so I guess like the expectation that would be in the next couple of days, hopefully they're going to get everyone out of there safely. But dude, psychologically, I don't even know where you start with like the damage that's done from that experience. Like the mental trauma, that alone. And it was pure darkness, right, for 9 days because they were found after 9 days of being in there. So I guess they've got some light in there now, I would assume. But before it was zero visibility. And like 9 days at zero visibility, I don't even know what that would do to your sight.
And then you have to not only like save these kids, you have to go and save these kids who haven't had who are malnourished, who are weak, who are scared, and then try to get them the courage to then dive underwater and swim to safety. And then the closest hospital to them is like 3 hours away by like a series of helicopters, cars, and all this other stuff. So like, that is no easy task.
And the dive itself is apparently hours long.
6 hours.
That's kind of the crazy part. Is that, those kids are going to be underwater for 6 hours.
Well, okay, so to be clear, like there are parts of it that aren't where underwater. Right.
Yeah.
But there's been concerns about like how good, like their muscle, like in terms of being able to walk, like they're just weak. Like you were saying, dude, they're so weak. Exactly. So like each kid has 2 divers like with them pretty much. And so all the kid is pretty much doing is like wearing that special mask that like absorbs the whole face and oxygen or whatever. Dude, they said today, I saw in the news that they did the trip a lot more efficiently today than they did yesterday, and it took them 6 hours.
Jeez, crazy. That's too long, man. That's just absolutely too long to have kids. Not only that we've had kids trapped in a cave, but that's too long of a dive to ask these kids to do, obviously. And it's a terrible situation. We'll keep an eye on it and hope that it gets out. But I mean, I just can't imagine being a 25-year-old assistant coach going on a hike with your players and then ending up stranding in there and feeling the responsibility for all these kids. And
it's crazy
doing that.
Oh. What is the perception of that, like, in your mind? Like, dude, and that's the thing. It's so is it fucked up to talk about now? But, like, dude, is that irresponsible behavior?
I mean,
irresponsible.
Like, it's so Captain Hindsight, dude, that I don't even want to say it. It's like, but, like,
no, I don't think that we know the full story still, obviously, because all the kids who went and know exactly why they were leaving and how they got there probably can't exactly give a good account of what happened based on being in a cave for like 9 days with no light.
Well, now it's been way longer than 9 days.
Yeah,
it's just like 9 days until.
But I mean, like, there's no like. I don't think that we can pass judgment on how, like, obviously bad move, but I don't know if we can pass too much judgment until we get a real account of how they ended up there and if it was truly just a hike gone wrong, because every situation has a lot of depth to it, and I don't want to pass judgment on this 25-year-old assistant soccer coach when, I mean, we got guys on this very podcast that are the same ages and a year younger, and
figure
everything out. And I don't know what I would do if I was kids hiking and like I've worked at a summer camp where I've taken kids hiking before, and there's ended up like being a flood, and we had to get back to camp, and that's a really worrying thing. And you don't ever mean to put anyone in harm, so I would never think that he was doing anything, obviously, that he thought would put anyone in any harm. So it just sucks that this situation's ended up like this, and obviously we all wish him all the best and hope they can get those kids out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, agreed, man. Absolutely. But this has been another episode of From the Nosebleeds podcast. We're going to take a quick moment right here to say a huge thank you to everyone who has been listening to the show, liking us, following us on Twitter. We appreciate it so much. My name is Andrew Levin. Will Mosley, any closing thoughts before we get out of here for the night?
Not a thing, man.
Alec Uweki, our good friend in the Northeast. It is getting dark behind you. It is already dark where I am. Any closing thoughts this evening?
Oh, sir.
Producer Mac Young, thank you so much as always, man. Anything to say before we get out of here?
No, good show tonight, guys.
Yeah, I agree, man. Real good show. We're going to have a lot more to talk about next week. It's July. We're going to have some fun. We'll talk some sports too. Thank you so much for listening. For all of us here From the Nosebleeds podcast, keep hitting us up on Twitter @_the Nosebleeds. Give us a listen on SoundCloud. Subscribe. Go to the search bar. Hit the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. Be on the lookout for that Instagram. We're going to get real active on here real soon. Thank you so much, people. Have a great night. We will catch you next week.
Love you guys.
That was one of our better ones. If I have to be honest. Yeah.
I think we've been good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. I like this a lot. I think it works well.
Okay,
yeah,
so not to rush too much. I'm getting this bounced right now. Will, I know you said you had some logistical. I just got a little bit of homework that I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to get out of here or anything, but
no, you're good. We've pieced together most of this stuff I wanted to touch on. I'm gonna obviously I didn't do that Facebook ad last week. I have a lot of time tomorrow, so I'm setting a bunch of stuff up because I wanted to set up the Instagram page as well.
Sure.
Because once I link it to that, it'll also it'll be able to promote on Instagram as well as Facebook once I set up a Facebook ad and pay for it. So if I'm going to pay for it, I'd rather it be on all the websites or whatever. And just to get the episodes out there, it's a lot easier just to get them on that format as well and be able to post them on that. There's going to be stuff I don't know, I'm going to get on the Instagram and post a picture of fucking sweet potatoes and ask if people think they're trash or not. There's just a lot of use out of Instagram stories, not even as much the feed with promoting now. So I'm going to try to get on that a lot more this week. And then with Twitter as well. Obviously Andrew clarified, or we clarified in the text message, Alec, it's one of our friends from college who's just a guy we knew, Harrison Flynn. But he was really positive about the podcast in a lot of ways, wanted to help out, wanted to in any way he could, and also talk to me about helping out in the social media aspect. So in the coming days, I'll let y'all know about that more. If he's going to be giving me a hand with some of that. If y'all are into that, just because he was just interested in what we were doing and throwing any help he could our way. And he is somebody who's been really active on Twitter and everything with me in the past couple months personally, about a lot of sports takes. So I know that he knows what he's doing in that aspect of it.
Right. Yeah, I agree 100%. I guess a couple things on my end logistically. First, I would just piggyback on what Will said. Pretty much every person that I saw who knew who I was this weekend, and it was a big wedding, went out of their way to say that they were stoked on the project and that we were doing a good job and that we have come a long way, especially the people who had been listening sort of toward the beginning. And that's something that I was really encouraged by. I mean, honestly. So it was good to hear from all those people. I talked to Brandon. He is totally willing to do some sort of interview, whether that's him calling into this thing and like we all doing it together, whether it's me recording like a 20-minute thing on my computer and then sending it to Mac or whatever and piecing it together. That's something that we can do. All I would ask is that we do it with 2 weeks notice so that like next week we can sell the interview and then come back the week after with it or whatever. And that's something that he had sort of asked for also. So like logistically, those are my two things. I sent out a little blast to some people from the academy, but I'm planning to do something a little more formally this week because we have like this new student portal thing that everyone's getting set up with. So that's just been a little dicey because I'm trying to figure out the best way to get it to all the students and to people without sending it to like all the people in the corporate network, just because there are some who, understood.
Yeah,
but
it's understandable.
So that's sort of where things stand for me. And then other than that, something that I thought about today, and again, I don't really know what it would be, but like some sort of funky, maybe like fun giveaway thing, like a show giveaway thing might be cool if we could find a way to like verify if you listen, then you're entered in this thing or whatever. I don't know. It was something that I thought about because I know Mac had sort of said that like the likes are going way up, but like the listens haven't necessarily converted over yet. And I'm just sort of trying to think of ways that we can like get more conversions. So to
And you can get likes on a specific SoundCloud.
You can, but I can just see how many listens we get.
Right?
How many times you see someone hits play?
Right. And so anyway,
The
those
numbers are better. But
those are sort of the things that I've been thinking about over this past week. But I think that the last couple shows have been really good, and the people who are listening are responding to it. So I think it's sort of a matter of getting them to keep listening. And then I think kind of like Will was alluding to, I think people like Harrison and just like trying to get people stoked on the product and maybe even involved in it in ways that will sort of expand our network, that definitely can't hurt us either.
I think we could do like if people share the episode on Facebook or on Instagram, like share the episode, like that would count for me, right? The more people who share something of ours reaches,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with you that's good for me. Like, but we're already like our posts are already reaching like over 2,500 people a week on Facebook. So like we're getting shares from like a good enough amount of people that our posts are showing up on over 2,500 people's timelines.
Can we drop off live here, buddy?
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize.